My girlfriend got pregnant, but it couldn't be from me, because at that time our relationship was on hold, because she wanted to figure out herself. I'm pregnant, she said, beaming. Her eyes were wide with excitement, like she expected me to jump up and hug her. But I didn't. I just stood there, staring at her, my mind racing. It wasn't possible. We'd barely been together for a week after our break. And during that time, we had been careful, every single time. There was no way this baby was mine. I felt my stomach drop as reality hit me. She must have been with someone else a month before she told me she was pregnant. She had asked for a break. She said she felt lost and needed time to figure herself out. Her new job was stressful, her family situation was complicated, and she wasn't sure what she wanted in life. She said she needed space to think. Agreeing to the break wasn't easy, but it felt like the right thing to do. It wasn't a breakup, just a pause. There were clear rules. No cheating, no parties, no clubs, and no meeting new people from the opposite sex. It was supposed to be a time for reflection, not for anything else. During that month, I spent a lot of time thinking about our relationship. I missed her more than I expected. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much she meant to me. I convinced myself that she was the best thing that had ever happened to me, and that once she was ready, we would be stronger than before. Then something strange happened. One day, I noticed that I couldn't see her Instagram anymore. At first, I assumed it was a glitch, but after checking with a friend, I found out that she had restricted access to her profile, not just for me, but for everyone close to me. That was the first sign that something was wrong. Seeing that she had hidden her Instagram from me and my friends made me uneasy. It wasn't just a small privacy setting change. This was deliberate. She had gone out of her way to remove access from me and anyone close to me. That meant she didn't want me to see what she was posting. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she just wanted a break from anything that reminded her of our relationship. Maybe seeing my posts, even by accident, would make it harder for her to clear her head. But if that was the case, why was she still posting at all? If she really needed space, wouldn't she just stop using social media for a while? The more I thought about it, the less sense it made that I decided to check if it was really just me. I asked my best friend to look her up. He searched for her username, and his face immediately changed. She had blocked him too. I asked another friend. Same result. Every person I checked with was either blocked or restricted. This wasn't just her taking space. This was her cutting off anyone connected to me. That's when the unease turned into something worse. If she didn't want me or my friends seeing her posts, it meant there was something she didn't want us to see for the next few days. I debated what to do. I kept checking, hoping maybe she would change it back, that maybe it was temporary. But nothing changed. She was still active, still posting, just not where I or anyone I knew could see. I thought about texting her, asking her directly what was going on, but every time I reached for my phone, I hesitated. What would I even say? We had agreed on this break. She had asked for space, and I had told her I would give it to her. If I started digging into what she was doing, it would look like I didn't trust her. But the more time passed, the more I realized that maybe I shouldn't. I tried to push the doubt away, but it kept creeping back. I told myself that if she was doing something wrong, I would find out eventually. If she was lying, it would come out on its own. But I already had a feeling that by the time I found out the truth, it would be too late. Weeks passed, and I still hadn't heard from her. The silence stretched longer than I had expected, and the more time went by, the harder it became to ignore the feeling that something was off. I kept telling myself she would reach out when she was ready, but deep down, I started to wonder if she ever would. I spent a lot of time thinking about our relationship, trying to convince myself that she wasn't the type of person to betray my trust. She had told me she needed time, and I had agreed to give it to her. That should have been the end of it. But the way she was acting didn't match what she had told me. If she just needed space, why did she have to cut me off completely? Why did she need to block my friends? Why was she still posting if she didn't want me to see? I kept replaying our last conversations in my head, looking for anything I might have missed. Before she asked for the break, I had already noticed her acting distant. She had started responding less, canceling plans, and pulling away emotionally. At the time, I had chalked it up to stress, her new job, her family situation. She had seemed overwhelmed, and I wanted to be understanding. But now, looking back, I started to see things differently. Had she already made up her mind before she even told me? Had she been planning this? That thought made me sick. One night, my best friend and I were hanging out, and he brought it up again. He told me I needed to stop pretending everything was fine and really think about what was going on. People didn't just hide their social media from their boyfriend for no reason. They didn't block all of his friends unless they were trying to keep something secret. I didn't want to admit it, but he was right. Still, I held back from confronting her. If she was doing something behind my back, I wanted to be absolutely sure before I said anything. I told myself to wait, to be patient. If something was really going on, I would find out soon enough. Then, almost exactly a month after she had asked for space, she sent me a message. It was casual, like nothing had happened. She said she was ready to talk. Just like that, she was back when she reached out. I expected some kind of explanation. Maybe she would acknowledge how distant she had been, or at least say something about the way she had cut me off online. But when we met, it was like none of it had ever happened. She acted completely normal. She was smiling, affectionate, and comfortable, as if the past month had just been a brief reset. She didn't bring up the Instagram thing. She didn't explain why she had suddenly decided she was ready to come back. She just acted like everything was fine. I waited for her to say something, anything, that would make sense of her behavior. But she never did. Instead, she told me how much she had missed me. She said the break had helped her clear her head, and now she felt more sure about us than ever. She said she wanted to move forward, to put everything behind us and focus on the future. I should have asked her about Instagram right then. I should have pushed for an answer about why she had blocked me, why she had cut me out so completely. But I didn't. A part of me was just relieved to have her back. I had spent the past month waiting, overthinking, and questioning everything. Now that she was in front of me, acting like she wanted to fix things, I wanted to believe her. The doubt in the back of my mind never fully went away, but I ignored it. I convinced myself that maybe I had been overreacting. Maybe she had really just needed time. Maybe this was a good thing, that she had taken space and come back more sure of our relationship. So I let it go. Got back together, and for the first time in weeks, things felt normal again. Then, a week later, she told me she was pregnant. When she told me she was pregnant, she was smiling like it was the best news in the world. She looked excited, almost glowing, like she expected me to be just as happy. But I wasn't. I just stared at her, trying to process what she had just said. My mind immediately went to the past month, the break, the secrecy, the blocked Instagram, the way she had come back like nothing had happened. None of it made sense. We had only been back together for a week. Even before that, we had always been careful. There was no way this was my child. The weight of what this meant started settling in. She had to have been with someone else. I felt my stomach turn as I realized the truth. The whole break hadn't been about needing space. She had met someone. She had done something she knew she couldn't justify. So she disappeared for a month, blocked me and my friends, and now she was back, pregnant. And she expected me to believe it was mine. I didn't say anything at first. I just kept looking at her, waiting for some kind of explanation. But she just kept smiling, like she thought this was a moment to celebrate. That's when I finally spoke. I told her there was no way the baby was mine. Her face changed instantly. The excitement disappeared, replaced by shock and anger. She asked me how I could even say that, how I could doubt her. She said we had been together for years, that she would never cheat on me. She kept insisting that she had only been with me, but I didn't believe her. I couldn't. The timeline didn't add up, and deep down, I had already known something was wrong. She didn't take my reaction well. The moment I told her the baby couldn't be mine, she got defensive. She kept repeating that she had never been with anyone else, that she would never do that to me. But the more she tried to convince me, the more obvious it became that she was lying. I asked her straight up how she expected me to believe this. We had only been back together for a week, and before that, she had been completely cut off from me for a month. I reminded her that we had always been careful. I pointed out how she had blocked me and my friends on Instagram, how she had completely disappeared during the break. If she really just needed space, why go to such extremes to keep me from seeing what she was doing? She didn't have an answer. Instead, she started flipping it on me. She said I was being paranoid, that I never trusted her, that I was ruining what could have been a beautiful moment. She made it seem like I was the bad guy for not immediately accepting what she was saying. I stayed calm, but inside, I was furious. She was lying to my face and acting like I was the problem, that I asked her if she would take a paternity test. That was when she completely lost it. She started crying, saying she couldn't believe I would even suggest something like that. She called me cruel, said I was overthinking everything, said I was trying to destroy our relationship. But I wasn't going to let her manipulate me into ignoring reality. I told her that if she was telling the truth, she wouldn't be scared to take the test. If she really had nothing to hide, then proving it should be easy. She didn't say anything for a long time. She just stared at me, like she was searching for something to say that would fix this. But nothing she could say would change the facts. Then, she got up and left. That was the last time we ever spoke as a couple. After she left, I sat there for a long time, trying to process everything. A part of me had hoped she would turn around, admit the truth, or at least try to explain. But deep down, I already knew the answer. If she had nothing to hide, she wouldn't have reacted that way. I waited a few days, expecting her to reach out, but she never did. No texts, no calls, nothing. It was like she had just decided to walk away rather than face the truth. That silence told me everything I needed to know. I started telling people what had happened. My friends weren't surprised. Most of them had suspected something was off from the moment she blocked them on Instagram. Some even admitted they had seen posts of her out with new people before she restricted them. I realized then that I had been the last one to see it. I had been so willing to trust her that I ignored every red flag. A couple of weeks later, a mutual friend told me she had started seeing someone new. Apparently, she had been with him for a while, long before she told me she was pregnant. That confirmed everything. The break hadn't been about finding herself. It had been about being with someone else without feeling guilty about it. I never spoke to her again. I didn't reach out. I didn't ask about the baby. There was no point. She had made her choice, and I wasn't going to be the backup plan when it fell apart. It was hard at first, but with time, I realized I had dodged a bullet. The person I thought she was, the person I had convinced myself she was, had never really existed. And the truth was, I didn't lose anything. She did.